So, as we all know, Liverpool are yet to make a transfer this window. However, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be looking to sign new players. Welcome back to the channel, guys, where today we're going to be going through the top 5 signings I would like to see Liverpool make. Now, if you are new around here and you do enjoy watching football-related videos, usually about this club, make sure you do hit subscribe. I think in the last video I looked, and I think 0.4% of you were subbed, which, come on, those are rookie numbers. We can get those numbers up. Anyways, without further ado though, let's get into it. So coming in at number 5, we have got the French central midfielder Adrien Rabiot. Now, this is a player who sort of bounced between 2 main clubs in his career, so he's gone to Juve and to PSG and to Juve and just played for those really, but he is now a free agent. He has continued and completed his career at Juventus now, obviously still getting in loads for the French national side. There's clearly a good player in there. Like, there just is. You don't get into the French national side for nothing. Obviously, 29 years of age, so he's getting towards his prime now. I don't see how this is necessarily a risk for Liverpool. I mean, okay, you're going to probably have to pay a big old signing bonus if you're going to bring him in. But in terms of the quality that he can bring as a player to that midfield, it's good. Like, when you look at the midfield that Liverpool currently have, obviously, I know they did the full refresh since Henderson and Fabinho, but what you've got, Endo, Gravenberch, McAllister, all these players, Bajcetic as well, in that sort of 6 pivot, which I guess is almost what Rabiot would fill in for, because we're not going to have that 4-3-3 system that we usually have with an 8 sort of going back and forth. If we are going to play the double pivot system that Slot has seemed to implement, he would fill in that role quite well. Now, again, I feel the big risk with this guy is obviously his discipline record. Now, it has been rumoured for a while that he doesn't seem to get on with many players, but at the end of the day, it should be a Liverpool dream. Liverpool hate spending money on transfers. You could bring him in, not cost you anything other than maybe a potentially heavy sign-on bonus, and if it doesn't work out, cut him loose. Like, it should be a no-brainer in my opinion. So coming in at number 4, we have gone for the Algerian left-back from Wolves, Mr. Rayan Aït-Nouri. Now, this is a player that Liverpool have actually been linked to quite a lot so far this summer. And, I mean, there's like talks of a takeover with him and Pedro Neto coming in as like a double act, which I wouldn't be opposed to. But focusing on the left-back here, you've got to look at the squad that Liverpool have, right? You've got an ageing Andy Robertson. Yeah, he's obviously still one of the world's very best in that position. He is starting to pick up more and more injuries as he gets older. He's only going to decline. I hate to say it, and I absolutely love the bloke, but that is the only way that he is going to go. You look at the backups that Liverpool have got. Kostas Tsimikas and realistically Joe Gomez. Now, I don't think Tsimikas is good enough to fulfill the role of Robertson. I think he's a very, very solid backup. However, when you look at it from his perspective, he's actually not the second choice left back currently. It's sort of fallen on to Joe Gomez, who again is solid at the back, but there is a ricket in him, and I would be concerned if that was the only option as a left back going forward. And I think when you look at Aït-Nouri, 23 years old, bags of potential there, solid Premier League experience already. I mean, I think he's got like 5 goals and 4 assists in his 98 appearances or something like that. So he's clearly got the ability to attack and fit that Liverpool ethos of having attacking fullbacks. So for me, I think it would be a good player to bring in. I think he would be ahead of Tsimikas and Gomez in the pecking order in that position. And yeah, if you can get him for around his market value, which I think is around 35 million, don't get me wrong, that does seem a little bit expensive for how Liverpool like to play it. I think he would be a good option. So coming in at number 3, I have gone for Ederson. Now, I don't mean the Man City goalkeeper, who actually could potentially be going to Saudi. No, I mean the Atalanta central midfielder. Now, again, this is a position which I do feel like Liverpool really need. He can play as a 6, but he can play as a pivoting 6, right? So if Slot plays this 4-3-2-1 with the pivoting sort of 6s that we've seen, so the likes of Trey Inouye playing it in the pre-season game a couple of days ago, this man is built for that position, right? He's so good at carrying the ball. He's defensively solid. He can ping the ball forward and move it directly. We've seen it all season for Atalanta. He's obviously been a part of that Europa League winning squad, and he just looks class. He looks a very, very solid option in a position which Liverpool 100% need to fill. Now, currently he is valued at around 40 million euros, which honestly I don't think would be too bad if Liverpool were to pick him up for that price. And I just feel like it would really solve this potential Endo issue that we're going to have in the coming seasons. Like, as big of a fan as I am of Wataru Endo, I think we can all agree that he's not good enough to be in like a Champions League winning 11, right? Like, he's just apparently, unfortunately not that guy. But this boy potentially could be, and at 25 he's going to be coming into sort of the prime, still got the potential to become a better player. And yeah, I think this would be a really, really good, well-rounded option for a position which we have not replaced since we've lost Fabinho. So coming in at the number 2 spot, I have gone for a man who, again, Liverpool have been linked with quite a lot this window, Marc Guéhi. Now, we're all English fans, presumably, or at least the majority of us are that are probably watching this video. We all know how good Marc Guéhi's been in the last 12 months. Again, really sort of risen in the ranks at Palace. I know he's been starting alongside Anderson for the last sort of couple of seasons or so, but he really took his game from sort of here to here recently. Like, he's looked absolutely class. Palace have been one of the most solid defences just in the league. They've been very, very, very good, particularly since the managerial takeover recently. And he's just been so solid. He's got a turn of pace around him. He's big. He's strong. There is a couple of issues with it, and we'll go into those. But all-rounder, he is a very, very, very solid centre-half who, again, is at a good age with the potential to only get better. Now, when it comes to issues with Marc Guéhi, it's actually his ability, which is a bit of a problem. He's been so immense in the last 12 months, particularly in the Euros just gone this summer. His price tag rocketed up. It must have done. There's no two ways about it. Now, I feel like we already knew that there was a good player in there, but this has just shown it on the world stage. Now, for a stingy little club like Liverpool, they aren't going to want to pay big bucks for anyone unless if they are truly quintessentially committed that that is their bloke. And with how FSG have been recently, they don't like spending money anyway. Gone are the days where we're signing Alisson and Van Dijk for big sort of sums of cash. But I think when it comes to the likes of a Guéhi, there aren't many decent centre-halves out there on the market. We've obviously lost out on Lenny Yoro, who's gone to Man United, who's actually unfortunately injured, so unlucky United fans. But when you look at the centre-halves that Guéhi would be accompanying at Liverpool, obviously Van Dijk, while he's still there, I know he's obviously ageing, but he is going to be a mainstay in that team. He's still very, very good, very, very high quality. You've then got your second options. It's always going to be Van Dijk and another for Liverpool, isn't it? So you've got Jarrell Kwanzaa, who I think should be firm favourite, personally, with how he performed and the potential that he's got to grow himself in his career. I think he's been a very, very, very good option. And I think, despite that, it would be harsh to try and bank your whole season on a Jarrell Kwanzaa at the back. So that's why I wouldn't necessarily want him starting every single game this season. But then you look at the others that are a little bit more in contention. So your Joe Gomez's, your Ibu Konate's. And actually, well, he's not a part of it anymore, but obviously Joel Matip has gone, so that's another centre-half that you've lost, so you do need to replace it regardless. But when you go on to the likes of Gomez, as I've said, Gomez has got a ricket in him. Okay, he's versatile enough to play all across the back four, but once Gomez's head drops, he is useless, in my opinion. He loses all of his ability defensively, and I think he's had plenty of chances in that centre-half role to actually show that he is the guy. Granted, under Schlott it might be different, and again, Gomez was the centre-half partner to Van Dijk that won us the league, so there is clearly a good player in there, but I think he's had his time in that position. And then when it comes to Konate is a disappointing one for me because I genuinely think there's a really, really good defender in there, but this last season there has been some horror shows from Konate. And it's at the same time, there's also been some masterclasses. He's very inconsistent. Again, much like Gomez, incredibly injury prone. And you don't need that when you've got an ageing Van Dijk, who again is one injury away potentially from having a career ender, and you've got a young Jarrell Kwanzaa at the back. So for me, it's desperately important that Liverpool do sign a centre half. I would love it to be Marc Guéhi if we are going to pick one, but yeah, jury's out as to whether that'll be the case. So coming in at our number 1 spot, and honestly I think this might be cheating a little bit, but it's my video, so tough. I have gone for the most important signing that Liverpool need to wrap up this summer is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, he already plays for Liverpool. Yeah, no shit he does. His contract expires in 11 months now, and with all the Real rumours and all that, I feel like he's a player that you need to get locked down if you want to keep him, right? Like, we all know how good he is. One of the most creative players the Premier League has ever seen, let alone Liverpool. Absolute world-class talent. Okay, people always question his defensive numbers. Bollocks to me. I think he's solid enough defensively. However, you can obviously play him further forward and potentially get even more out of the attributes he has. But you're talking about the vice-captain of a football club here, and you've gotten to a point where his contract is still not sorted, and in another 5 months he can fuck off for free somewhere. He can talk to other clubs, he can talk to the likes of Real and potentially leave for nothing. So I really feel like this is one that Liverpool do need to wrap up. I know in terms of that fullback position you've obviously got the likes of Conor Bradley coming through, who again looks absolutely class, and when Trent was injured last season he came in, it wasn't that much of a difference. You're like, oh yeah, Bradley's coming, he's looked great. But when Trent came back in, my word, you knew what player you were missing. You knew how good Trent actually is at that role. For me, you can't mess about with it. You need to have these locked down and sorted. And I mean, the same for the likes of a Van Dijk. But for me, fully, Trent is sort of priority in terms of a contract, just due to his age. So I would love it if Liverpool could get this one sorted. Again, potentially stinginess coming from FSG, we don't know. We know they're not exactly keen on paying out massive sums of money. They had a big wage structure, which they've only ever broken for one player, that being Mohamed Salah. So I would really like to think that Liverpool keep hold of him and do keep the signing of him. However, part of me thinks he's going to Real in the summer. So there we have it, guys. Those are the 5 players that I want Liverpool to sign, or in the last person's place, just keep a hold of. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you want Liverpool to sign? Is there any particular players that you're thinking are going to look good, or do you think are feasible? I will say these transfers were based on feasibility, right? If not, I'd have said like Mbappe, Haaland, Bellingham, all of this shit. Like, these are players that I genuinely think Liverpool could go out and sign. But yeah. Thanks so much for watching. Again, if you are new here and you have enjoyed the video, please do consider subscribing. It really does help me out a lot. And yeah, thanks ever so much for watching.